right, well, let's see what got picked randomly for me to play next.
All right, we got to spin. This is a big one. There are 588 games on this list. Let's go. Oh man, I can't even read it. Graven. Okay. All right, that's a new game. Let's play it.
This next game made me so flippin' angry that I slammed my PlayStation Portal down and thought I broke it. That's no joke. The only reason I even own this game is because I had to pick something that was about $30 so I could get free shipping from PlayAsia. So I imported this game, which shortly afterwards got a US release. It's Graven on the PS5. Now, I know a bunch of you guys are thinking like, what in the hell is this game? And let me tell you, I'm right freaking there with you. What is this game? I played it and I don't even really know how to describe it. You play as some sort of exiled heretic priest who ends up in some strange land where you have to stop the bad guys from causing plagues and all manner of other just evil crap. I mean, whatever. It's one of those kinds of games, all right? It's one of those games where they're like obliged to put in a story when they don't really need to put in a freaking story. But they did it. They did it anyway. They tried to make it more epic than it deserved. So what is this game? How does this game start? Well, you start off in the boat with this just old timer who's dumping all this narrative on you as you explore, kind of not explore, but like go through this almost cutscene similar to the beginning of Half-Life, where you're just like looking around and narrative is happening all around you, and you end up in this freaking city where you explore around and you break barrels and you talk to people and you find money and you open doors and get quests. And at first I was like, this is like Skyrim or like Morrowind or something. It feels like a first person freaking RPG, but it's not. It's not at all. You cannot play it like that. It is a freaking boomer shooter. It's a boomer shooter, like Hexen or Heretic, which are medieval spin-off fantasy versions of Doom. Okay, that's what this game is supposed to be. That's what it's trying to be. I don't know why it starts off all slow like that and screwed everything up. I was trying to be all like methodical and search every area and all this crap. It doesn't want you to do that. Once you just like go in all guns blazing, or not all guns blazing, all wands blazing, because in this game, it's a melee first-person shooter pretty much. You walk around, you smack people on your head with not your head, in their head with your staff, you know, and you freaking kill them and you pick up items and stuff. And there are some like projectile weapons you find, like arrows, and you have spells with mana and healing potions and upgrades. So it is kind of like Skyrim in a way, but it's more like Doom. All right, and you're trying to complete a main quest to advance the story, and there are these side quests along the way that, you know, you may or may not be able to complete. Now, the game has a gorgeous, like, retro appearance that does remind me of Hexen and Heretic. It runs at freaking 60 frames a second, maybe higher, and it almost feels jarring with how smooth it is. That is, until you just encounter an enemy, one of the millions of enemies in this game. Well, what happens? Oh, if you run into a group of enemies, the game gets framey is crap. Sometimes enemies will spawn in, and when they do, the game stutters and freezes, but it doesn't stop playing, and they hit you while the screen is like frozen. So you're always taking inadvertent damage from these enemies, and there's nothing you can do about it because the game just starts running like crap whenever any action happens. People online are complaining incessantly about how badly this game runs when enemies appear on the screen. And that's something you can't have in a freaking blistering paced boomer shooter, okay? You can't have hiccups, you can't have frame rate drops, you can't have the game glitching out on you like that. But on a positive note, the soundtrack's really good. It's orchestral, it's incredible. I find it remarkable that it's even included in this game. It feels appropriate for like a AAA game, something you would hear in Skyrim, but instead it's in this like little indie game. Now this game is ultra mega super bloated. Like way bloated. It's over 20 hours long, which is like 3 to 4 times longer than it really should be. The areas are freaking huge and extremely maze-like most of the time. And they really start to drag on after not too long. Like within an hour of the game, you're like lost and you're like, I'm done with this, I want to move on, but it just keeps plodding along. And the town serves as this hub, and navigating around it, just trying to find where like the next area is, can be really annoying because there's no map to tell you. It's like, go light the lighthouse and that'll draw the enemies away from the town, and then you can go to the library. Well, guess what? You freaking go light the lighthouse, and then it's like, oh cool, proceed to the library. I'm like, where the freaking hell is the library? Is it over by the lighthouse? Is it down this street? No, oh no, dummy. A door that was locked previously. a gate opened and you're supposed to go through that. Now it takes you into a whole new area you're supposed to explore. And you can find your way to the library through there. But there are like 50 different paths you can take in that new. It's just like, you get through a maze and at the end of the maze is another maze. And then that maze branches off into like 4 other mazes. And it's just maze after maze after maze after maze, all filled with freaking enemies that like spawn in and cause the game to lag and you end up taking hits. And just, God, dog, it's so freaking irritating. And the game is really tough, but like not in a good way. A lot of the time it feels really cheap and finicky. Now it says it can be played in split screen or local co-op or online with like 4 people. And like, that might be awesome. It might make the game run even worse. Who knows? No one's playing this game. I couldn't get anybody to play it with me. Like no one cared about it. Like my daughter watched me play for like 5 seconds on my PS Portal and she was like, this game looks old, Daddy. And I was like, yep, it sure does. But the truth is when you get a ranged weapon, like there are several in the game, and you actually have some ammo which runs out in about like 15 seconds, by the way, the game is super fun. When it actually plays like a boomer shooter, you know, where you get to like shoot, pew, 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 and you're not just like popping enemies in the head with your little stupid staff. Dude, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. There's a reason boomer shooters have hung around for freaking 30 years and like melee first person boomer knockers. Boomer what's knocking them boomers around. There's a reason those aren't a thing anymore and never really were to begin with. Because it's not as much fun, man. That's what we're supposed to be doing, having fun. It's just not fun to run around and have to get right up in a group of freaking enemies and pop them one time and back out and pop them one time and back out. Just freaking stop it, man. I want to blast them in the face with a freaking machine gun. That's what I want to do. And you get to do that a little bit in this game. You do get to like blast them with like your rapid fire freaking crossbow, you know, that's sick. But it runs out of ammo in like 20 seconds, like I said. None of this even matters. This review doesn't even matter because the game is a freaking technical disaster. There are freaking frame rate drops all over the place. There's screen tearings. There's hiccups that make it really difficult to play. But worst of all, 2 hours into the game, I got into a checkpoint area and I got a message on the screen. There was an error. The game could not save. When I loaded into the next area, the game crashed. And guess what? Surprise, surprise, my save, the only save, because it auto-saves, was corrupted. Tough break, loser. Start the freaking game over. And guess what? Like the loser I am, I did. I started the game over. I lost all my progress. I started over from the beginning. And after about 3 hours, guess what happened? That's right, corrupted save. Game crashed, loser. Start over. Hell no. You can call me a loser once. Burn me once. Shame on you. Burn me twice. Shame on me. But also shame on you too, you piece of crap, because you should have fixed your freaking game. That's 5 hours of suffering through buggy garbage with nothing to show for it. And don't expect it to get fixed either. It's been out on the PC forever with the same freaking issues, and they haven't done crap about it. Nothing. There's forum post after forum post asking people about whether this is going to get fixed, and they're just ghosted. This game did not work on the PC. They never patched it. They went ahead instead and ported it to the PS5, broken, unpatched, pressed it to a disc, sold it physically, never patched it. And then Limited Run Games picked up this game to publish it in the United States. Guess what? Unpatched and unworking. If you bought Graven, I'm so sorry. It does not work. Just doesn't work. There is the seed of a good idea with Graven. I like the idea of like a medieval fantasy boomer shooter with quests and side quests and a little bit of exploring and stuff. But you gotta make it work. You can't put out a 20-hour epic adventure that crashes after 2 or 3 hours, where the gameplay's not that fun and you can't even fight the enemies because they just spawn in and the game freezes. You can't do that. That's not a thing you could do if you want to make a game. I hate to do this, but I'm gonna have to give Graven a 3 out of 10. And the only reason it's not getting a 2 is because it has a good idea, and I think maybe a different company will pick up the mantle of this game and actually make something good. If the game worked flawlessly, it would honestly be like a 6. But as it is, with what I was able to experience in my 5 hours of wasted time, 3 out of 10. That's as good as you're gonna get, Graven.